Today we're going to do a lines in motion collage. And the reason why we are doing this is because we are talking about movement in art. And movement is the fourth principle of design after balance, contrast, and emphasis. And movement in art simply means the path the viewer's eye takes through a work of art. And artists can purposely create some movement in their artwork to guide the viewer's eye across their artwork. We are magically going to take regular old diagonal lines and make them into these beautiful waved lines, creating a sense of movement. In order to do this project, what you're going to need are 3 separate sheets of white pieces of paper. You're also going to need a ruler, a pencil, and either some colored markers, or if you don't have colored markers, you can use colored crayons, okay? In order to get started, what we're going to do is you're going to get out that first piece of paper, okay? We can lay it down into landscape orientation, meaning wide and fat. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our ruler out. Okay, and we're gonna lay our ruler diagonally across from corner to corner, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick our first color that we want to color in this strip that we are creating across our page. So let's say I want to make this big stripe diagonally going across my page red. So what I can do is I can get out my red marker or red crayon, whatever you want to use. And along one side of my ruler, I'm going to use my ruler to draw that red diagonal line. Okay, on the other side of my ruler, I can use the red to create a second diagonal line. Do you see that? All right, so now I'm gonna take my red marker and I'm gonna quickly fill in the space between those 2 lines, okay? And again, if you're using crayons, you want to make sure that you're filling in as much as the white space as possible. Same with the marker. Looks like my marker's running out, so I'm gonna grab my other marker. But I'm just quickly filling in the space in between those 2 lines, not getting outside those lines, because I want that strip of my red to be a solid red color, okay? But you can go pretty quickly filling in those lines as best as you can, as much as possible, filling in all the white space. Once you have that first diagonal stripe fully colored in, we can start creating diagonal stripes of different colors across. So maybe my next stripe underneath, I'm gonna make kind of narrower, and I'm gonna think of the next color that I wanna use. It really doesn't matter which colors you use. I might use a purple, why not? So I'm gonna look to see how wide I want it to be. It could be thin, it could be thicker, it doesn't really matter. And once I have it running parallel meaning going in the same direction at the same time as my diagonal stripe, I'm going to take that next color and I'm going to draw a parallel diagonal line to this stripe, okay? And I might even, for the other side of my purple stripe, line up my ruler right underneath the side of my red diagonal line, and I'm gonna make my second line for my stripe. Okay. You don't have to use the same colors I am using. You can use different colors, but as soon as you make your second stripe, go ahead, use your markers or crayons to fully color in that diagonal stripe, okay? All right, as best as you can, filling in all the white space. Then I'll make my next stripe. This one will make slightly a little bit wider, maybe not as wide as this one, but slightly wide. I'll pick a different color, I'll lighten it up, I'll use yellow. Again, you can use whatever colors you want, but I'm gonna do the same process where I'm drawing my 2 diagonal lines that are parallel to these stripes. Once I do that, I'm gonna use my markers or crayons, whatever you have, to quickly color in the space in between, filling in all the white space. Okay, next, I'm gonna do another stripe. This one, maybe I'll make very thin. Get out my next color. Doesn't matter which color it is. Draw that diagonal line on one side, diagonal line on the other side, and color in. This one's teeny tiny, so it won't take me too long. Next one, I'm maybe make a nice big wide one again. Again, maybe using a color that I haven't done yet, maybe blue. Have it line up, line on one side, diagonal line on the other, right next to my green stripe, and fill it in. Okay. Now, if your crayon colors are different from mine, remember, you don't have to use the same colors. They can be completely different colors, but it's really good to use different colors to create a sense of what we would call variety. All right, my next stripe, I'm gonna pick a different color. Maybe, what haven't I used yet? I haven't used orange, so maybe I'll use my orange next. And fill in. Okay, I have this last little space. I might repeat my pattern and then just fill in the rest with my red. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing now on the other side of my red stripe, going upward, okay? So again, you can think of how wide you want this to be. It does not have to be the same as what we did down here. It can be different. In fact, if I wanna grab a different color, one that I don't have in markers, I can use one of my crayons. Doesn't matter if you use crayons or markers. So maybe I'll use this magenta color, but it's the same process, using my ruler to draw the lines on either side and then filling in the space in between. Now, if I'm going too fast for you, remember, you can always watch the video of how to do this project at your own pace on Schoology. But for now, I'm going very quickly, as you might notice, in order for us to get all the instructions done in time, okay? So now I have that stripe. I might, again, make maybe a thinner stripe, something of a different color that I haven't used. What haven't I used? Maybe I'll use my orange on this side if I still have it. Since I can't find my orange, I'm gonna use yellow. All right, so one on one side, one on the other. And fill it in. Trying to fill all the white space. Cool, I found my orange, but too little too late. I'll do a, let's say green is my next one. Again, you can use different colors. This one, I'll make it nice and wide. The nice thing about markers is that I think that they fill the space really quickly. So that's why I'm mostly using thick markers today. Okay, got a couple more spaces. I'll fit two more. Looks like I can repeat my blue. Haven't used that in a while. Awesome. And last but not least, let's use that orange I finally found. Just filling in the rest of the page. Awesome. So now that all of your white space has been mostly covered with varying diagonal lines, it's now time to go on to the next step. What we're gonna do is we're gonna flip over our page to the blank side, okay? Then you're gonna get out your ruler, you're gonna line up the edge of your paper to the line that says 0, okay? Notice where the numbers are where the inches are, and then there's a tiny little line right smack in between the numbers. That's ½ inches. What I need to do is I'm gonna make a tiny little mark not only where the inches are, but also at the half inches. So I'm gonna take my pencil and just make a little mark both at the half inch and the inch marks all the way across. So again, right underneath the numbers and that little notch in between the numbers for the half inch marks, I'm just gonna make my marks on the top of my paper in pencil going across until I run out. There we go. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. So I can flip my paper over, line up the edge of my paper again with that 0, get my pencil out, make a mark at the half inch marks and at the inch marks, all the way across my page. Okay, make sure that you are doing this in pencil, not in Sharpie, because Sharpie will bleed through to the other side and you don't want black dots on your beautiful diagonal colored lines that you made. All right, now that I have my lines on the inch and half inch marks at the top and bottom, I'm gonna take my ruler and I can turn it on the side, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna line up my ruler from one dash that I made on one side to the other on the other side, and I'm gonna draw the line across, just like that. I'm gonna line my paper. So I'll do that to the second one, lining up the 2 dashes, drawing perfectly horizontal lines across your page. If your lines turned out diagonal, that means that maybe you accidentally lined up the wrong notches. So make sure that you're lining up your ruler perfectly horizontally from one notch that lines up with the other one across your page. Okay, they should be perfectly horizontal, meaning straight across lines, almost like lined notebook paper. Okay, and again, you're doing this in pencil so that the lines do not bleed through onto your other side. So make sure you are doing this in pencil and not in Sharpie or any other sort of marker that can bleed through. Okay, I'm almost done. And I know that I'm going very fast, but remember, I'm just trying to get you the instructions so that you guys can do it on your own. If you need to watch the video at your own pace, you can always watch it after our Zoom. Okay, so looks like I have one more to do. And whoops, my page keeps slipping. There we go. All right, so I have my paper fully lined. All right, what I'm going to do next is at the top, it doesn't matter which side, doesn't matter, find one top going in this direction, and you're going to number the top strips. So each strip, each space in between the lines gets a number. So the first one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. You should have 22 strips altogether. If you don't, it means that maybe some of your lines got a little off, but let's try to have it be those perfectly vertical strips, and there should be 22 of them. Make sure that you do number them at the top. Don't skip this step, because it's going to be very confusing if you don't have them numbered. Okay, so make sure that you number them and number it in pencil, not Sharpie, so it doesn't bleed through. Okay, now that we have our strips numbered, we're gonna put this on the side for now. We're gonna get out those two more pieces of blank piece of paper. What we're gonna do is we are going to take those pieces of paper and we are going to combine them so that it is one mega piece of paper. So take two pieces of paper, put them in both in portrait orientation, meaning tall and skinny. We're gonna get out that glue stick. Okay, I forgot to mention that in the materials list, we need a glue stick. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put glue alongside one of the edges, one of the left-hand edges, see, of your pieces of paper, just along the edge. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that other piece of paper, line it up, overlapping where we just put the glue, but having the edges line up, and once it's overlapped, give it a nice rub so that the two pieces of paper are glued together. Okay, now we have one mega sheet of paper. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Now, let's get back to our colored piece of paper. Let's notice the strip that says number 12. That's the first strip we're gonna cut out and glue, and I'll explain why in a second. So find your number 12. You're also going to need your scissors to cut it out. So once you have your scissors, let's find the line on one side of our 12. Okay, and we're gonna cut along that line. And then the other line on the other side of our letter, or of our number 12. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna put these on the side for now, but let's keep the numbers at the top of the page, okay? So the number should always be facing the top of the page. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to position that strip going vertically in the middle of my page. So right over that seam with the same amount of space in between the edge and my strip on the top and the same amount of space from the edge at the bottom in my strip. Once I figured out where that's supposed to be, okay, right smack in the middle of my page, I'm gonna get out my glue stick. I'm gonna put glue along my strip on the back and then line it back up right in the center, leaving the same amount of space on either side, and then rub, press down. Awesome. So let's start adding our other strips. Okay, we're gonna add our other strips going along in one direction this way, and then afterward we're gonna go with the other strips 13 to 22 on the other direction. Okay, so next what we're gonna do is let's find the number 11. We're gonna put it on this side. Take out your scissors, cut out number 11. Awesome. So since we want this side to slightly curve down, like that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that number 11 strip, make sure that the number's at the top and that the colors look like they align and are the same, but right at the bottom of our strip, that's where we're going to, when we glue it down, we're gonna slightly overlap the bottom of my strip onto the number 12 strip, and then move this down at an angle, leaving a little space in between, creating like a tiny, thin, narrow letter V. Okay, once I know where I wanna put it on my number 11 strip, I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to put glue on the back of my number 11. And like I said before, at the bottom, make sure that the number's at the top. I'm gonna overlap it slightly at the bottom. I'm gonna put it at an angle, leaving a little triangular space in between them. And then once I'm ready, I'm gonna press, press, press. Awesome. Should be like a thin, narrow letter V. Next, we're gonna do and cut out number 10. So cut out number 10. Make sure the number's at the top. Looks like the colors slightly align. I'm gonna put glue on the back of my number 10. Same thing, I'm going to overlap the bottom a little bit, but then move the strip down at an angle to be a triangular wedge of the negative space in between. Once that's ready, I'm gonna press, press, press. Then we'll do number 9. Glue, overlap, angle, and then press. Number 8. Making sure the number's at the top. Glue, flip, overlap, angle, press. Number 7. Number at the top, glue, flip, overlap, angle, press. Number 6, glue, flip, overlap, angle, and press. Number 5, number at the top, glue, flip, overlap, angle, press. Number 4, number at the top, glue, flip, overlap at the bottom, angle, press. Notice how it's starting to curve down. 3, number at the top, glue, flip, overlap, angle, press. Number 2, I'm going to cut along that line. Number at the top, glue, flip, number at the top, angle, or overlap, angle, press. Notice my strip is getting off my piece of paper, my white piece of paper. That's okay, you can let it go off. And last but not least, my number 1, we're going to flip it. We're gonna glue, make sure the number's at the top. Flip, overlap at the bottom, angle, and press. Okay, so that one's going from the center curving down. For our next one, on the other side, from the center, we're gonna have it curve up. So that other half of our strips, we're gonna do the same thing, except we're gonna have it starting to overlap at our center strip at the top and go upward. So similar tactic, we're going to cut out the 13, make sure that the number's at the top. Okay. We're gonna glue. Okay. But this time, make sure the number's at the top, and the number at the top is gonna overlap the top of our center strip, our number 12, and the bottom is going to slightly open up at an angle. Okay, so the wedge should now be at the bottom, not the top like this half, but at the bottom. So once you have that, press. We'll do number 14. Cut along the line, make sure the number's at the top. Glue. Okay, flip. Number is overlapping at the top. The bottom is angling out just a bit. And press. Next one, 15. We're going to cut out 15. Okay, number at the top, glue. Flip. Number at the top that overlaps and opens slightly at an angle at the bottom. And press. Number 16. So cut out 16. Number at the top. Glue. Flip. Make sure that number at the top starts to overlap a little, but then opens up at a slight angle at the bottom. And press. Next one, number 17. Cut out 17. Number at the top. Glue. Flip. Number slightly overlaps at the top and fans out at the bottom at an angle. Next one, 18. Number at the top, glue, flip. Number at the top slightly overlaps at the top, bottom fans out like a wedge, and crease. 19. Number at the top, glue, flip. Have that number at the top overlap at the top, bottom fans out slightly to create a wedge. We're almost done. 20. Okay. Number at the top, glue. Okay, flip. That number at the top is going to slightly overlap the next strip at the top. The bottom fans out at a wedge and crease. Last two. $21. Number at the top. Glue, flip, overlap the number at that top. The bottom fans out, and last but not least, our last one, number 22. So 22 number at the top, glue the back, flip. That 22 top is going to overlap that strip. The bottom's going to fan out, and voila. You have now a beautiful sense of movement from those diagonal lines that have now turned into a wavy line moving pattern. All right, friends, well, I hope you had fun doing this lesson, and I can't wait to see yours.